Now, many say he is the right man for the job, the most qualified among several aspirants vying for the same presidential seat as himself. That man is Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, leader of the All Progressives Congress and former governor of Lagos State. He whom they describe as the king maker says is set to lead this country to greatness if given the opportunity. Bola Tinubu, since the beginning of this year, has been embarking on trips to shore up his chances. He has met with many Nigerians, including President Muhammad Buhari, traditional rulers, members of the National Assembly, and state governors, and continues widespread consultations across the country. So let's talk more about this. I have joining me in the studio for more, there's lawyer and social development advocate Olutobosun Oshifora. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning, my pleasure.
It's good to see you. And then also via Zoom, I've got a development advocate, from UK. In UK, he's a leadership expert and CEO, Great Dynasty Group, Abraham Great. Thank you so much for being here, Mr. Great.
Thank you very much for having me again.
Right, so let me start with you, Greatly. What's your reading about the leader of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, his consultations here and there? How have you been following it?
Yes, I've been following him. He's a man that I've been following for a long time. I would think since my early 20s. I'd worked with some people that worked with him back then before he became governor. So I'm privy to the kind of person, even though I've never met him personally, I'm privy to the kind of person that he is. And I'd like to say this, that, I understand this, that leadership, politics is not perfect. It's not for perfect people. It's not even a domain for perfect people to run. So all the candidates have the right to run, but all the candidates are imperfect people. But what I see about a leader is something that I see in Ahmed Tinubu and maybe many other people that are running for this for the presidency. A leader must be a person of vision. A leader must be a person of leadership, great leadership, and management ability, empathy, and temperament. And one of the reason why I think so highly of Asiwaju Tinubu is because of his leadership quality. I once said to someone that, when I was young, I was in my early 20s, I was working with someone who worked with him back home. And this was about the time he was to be a governor. And I was privy to be typing some of the vision he has for Lagos and Nigeria. At the time, I was in my early 20s with African Development Bank in Ivory Coast. And since that time, I see the kind of a leader he is. When I go to Lagos Island and I see some of the visions that I was part of typing or something like that, he's someone that I respect a lot. I think he's capable, of running Nigeria. I don't know if he's the only candidate that is capable, but I know he's quite capable.
Right. Let me bring this back to the studio to Olutobosun or Shifora. Well, Asiwaju said it's a lifelong ambition that he's always wanted to be president of Nigeria, not just for the sake of it, but really because he wants to do certain things. He wants to ensure that this country gets out of the doldrums. What do you make of it? How have you been reading this as well?
Yeah, it's not out of place. And this is one person wouldn't hide the fact that he wants to take the headship of this country, head on. And like everybody and in so many quarters, they're speaking about the fact that, he's got the experience, he's been around for a long time, he's been consistent. That's one thing you see about him. And what I want to say is I like the style and his approach to this thing, because what he has done is, it's not like the regular thing we're used to where, somebody just shows up from the blues or a set of people just spring up somebody. He's gone everywhere. He's met almost everybody from the length and breadth of this country. And that style for me is fantastic. It's novel, and you find that every other person is towing the same line. You see all the all the aspirants, going and consulting, and that takes us back to the fact that governance is actually a social contract. It's not something excuse me, somebody just wakes up and, just does anyhow.
Right.
So it's a social contract. You have to meet with the people you want to govern. You have to find out, you have to feel their pulse. You have to know how these things work. So at the end of the day, if it goes south, normally in law, they tell you a contract is an agreement between two people to enter into a venture. Both parties have certain obligations. So that's what Asiwaju has done in this regard. He's gone around, he's told everybody. He started by saying, I've spoken to the president and I'm consulting. Now, so in the event that the consultation goes maybe not in the right, it's a way to weigh how things will pan out. So if it doesn't pan out well, if you see him pull out, then he hasn't done anything bad, because some people have said some things are against him, age, certain factors, but he's as sharp as ever. He's got the experience, and we've seen him. You said earlier on that he's a kingmaker. We've seen his products are out there. There are a lot of people that actually came from him since, let's even leave the 93, since 99. He's churned out a lot of products, and then that speaks for him, and that's why a lot of people have confidence in the fact that if he takes on the headship of this country, then things will go better and Nigeria will take a better turn.
Right, let me have Abraham Great's take on this, from the UK once again. Just like he said, Asiwaju seems to have got a knack for identifying would-be leaders. We've seen governors, we've seen those of his products in who are ministers, and so on and so forth. How do you describe this trait of this man, Bola Tinubu, being able to identify those who are intellectuals and then support them to get into governance?
I think it's a laudable thing, but in my view, it's not everyone that he has produced that have been a great leader in the country. However, he has this antecedent of building a team of people. One of the job of a leader, apart from having a great vision, is to build a good team. And we saw with what he did with Lagos State. He built a team, not just a team of people that looks like him or speaks like him. He's a statesman in real sense of it. He was able to build people from the north, from the south, from the east to run Lagos State. And that is laudable. But one thing that I don't want this to be like maybe I'm just thinking about him, but I want to talk about his temperament. You see, it is no secret that this man was quite instrumental into bringing the current government to Asura. But what is laudable is that we saw in most part of this administration that things weren't going the way he liked, and many people will say, he needs to react, he needs to do this. But one of the traits of a great leader is temperament. You saw his temperament, you saw his ability to compose himself. You see the ability for him to just, patience is a very great virtue. We want Nigeria transforming one day. I don't even know if he will be able to transform Nigeria, but what I can see is that he's got that team, the team building capability, but he's also got a very unique temperament that can really help. To deal with all kinds of people, to deal with all kinds of character. If a leader is impatient, you see all kinds of things that you're seeing in the country, agitations and stuff, because you will say something, you'll be arrested, you will do this, we need someone to come into the country right now to lead a country with empathy. And perhaps he may be fit for that.
Right.
From his judging from his temperament.
Right. Olutubosun, President Muhammadu Buhari, the incumbent president of Nigeria, has always attributed his victory at the APC presidential convention and 2015 general elections to the selfless efforts of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu and a few others. But despite some, seeming antics to whittle his influence, he's toured well over and never thought of leaving the party. Would you say is really a party man?
No, he's always been referred to as the last man standing. You remember 99 to 2003, AD had the whole Southwest. And then, the Obasanjo angle came in when people decided that, okay, let's maintain the Yoruba, man in office for the next 8 years and all that. And that kind of impacted negatively on the votes in the Southwest. And you saw practically all the Southwestern states when it was only Lagos under the leadership of Asiwaju that actually stayed. And it wasn't like just Lagos State, it was due to his political dexterity. Then you saw the face-off with Obasanjo. I mean, it was something that was palpable. The books are there, the records are there. You know, they came out for him, and he stood his ground, and he stayed. He's about the only politician that's been consistent. You look at it, people have crisscrossed from one party to the other and gone back to where they're coming from. Some have gone back to where they've left and all that. But he's one man that has stood his ground and maintained, you know, his position on this thing. And if you also look at it, there's another thing that speaks for him, really. You may not like him. You may have certain misgivings about him, but there are some things, there are some innovations that are credited and creditable to him. And you see, the issue of the whole local government creation, he stood for it, he stood by it, and today, you know, it has worked perfectly for us. So these are things that I think a lot of haters who don't really like his guts actually want to be like him. They like the kind of influence he wields. And, you know, so that's why people come up with all kinds of things, but they really want to be like him. They really want to have the same kind of influence.
Just like you said, sorry to buzz in, just like you said, a lot of people who are naysayers, you know, to him, about him, and it does not really seem to bother. It does not really seem to care about the negative things people say about him. You don't see him come out to talk about all of these things. He just goes ahead and does his job. How is he able to do that?
He does. The other man on Zoom talked about his, you know, his qualities. He's resilient. I mean, like I said, he's the last man standing. He's always been around. He's consistent, and he's not as if these things don't get to him. If you look at it, most times he hears some things people say certain things from certain quarters, and you find certain adjustments in the way he does his things. Sometimes, I mean, governance is not 100% straight. Like you said it earlier on, it's not what they say, local palace come and chop. You know, you don't go there and just take it on like that. Sometimes you hit bumps. Sometimes you hit all kinds of oppositions, but he stayed consistent to himself. He stayed consistent to his plan, and he's dogged about it. That's one thing you give to him. Come rain, come shine, he stays true to his person, he stays true to his word, and stays true to the plan. That's why he's been able to sustain himself. And that's why the president could attribute the fact that, I mean, you remember the president was struggling for 12 years, contesting every now and then. It was the alliance between, you know, the ACN that brought this together that actually brought him into the office. So you can't take that, you can't rule that away. You can't push him away. He's not a pushover. And if you look at practically all the candidates going about, I mean, aspirants going about now, they're kind of copying his style. And that's good for the polity.
Well, I want to believe a friend in the UK, Abraham Great, I want to believe that I'm talking to the youth. We're having conversation, rubbing minds at this time. So a group of Nigerian youth for Tinubu declared their support and promised to purchase a presidential nomination form for him, you know, because they believe that it includes the youth in all of the things that you do, that he does. So what would you say about this? Is it a youth lover, or is it someone, you know, one of the old guys that we have in the polity?
In fact, I have two major concerns about the aspiration and the potential candidacy of Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu. One is what people think about his business ethics. And I think because of his temperament to not be out there to talk a lot, which he's doing now, like my colleague in the studio said, if you notice, it was when Asiwaju said that he's consulting. Right now, you see almost every aspirant are saying, I'm consulting. Now, a leader's voice is echoed in the nation and everywhere. So his style is being copied, like my colleague also said. But I am concerned about the fact that many people who actually are critical of him are critical of his business ethics. And I think he needs to engage more with the public, and he also needs to face public scrutiny. Because in my own record, I mean, as a student of law and everything, like I said, I've never met him personally, but I love his leadership style in many ways that I've come across them. I think he needs to engage, maybe in dialogues. I've checked his record and I find that he has no criminal record. I mean, Nigeria is big and the judicial system is working enough. I know he's been on trial a few times. But maybe his business dealings are not clear to some people. He needs to come out and clarify. And if there is any restitution to It is to make them with humility. But again, my second concern is about the youth. You see, with the youth, it seems to me that the party that he has fathered or that he has helped to put together in the coalition that brought about the APC has this antecedent of having very smart young people working behind the scene. But there are many people that the chairman or Asiwaju is indebted to. Therefore, these people, it's almost like the succession is planned. So you may be young around him, your future is not really guaranteed. But what would it be like right now if he finds other way to pacify the people who feel entitled,
right,
to political offices or what have you? What would it be like if he actually, restructure everything and bring fresh blood, new people, and compensate the old, not to get rid of all of them, put some of them in the back end, bring some fresh blood. That was what Obasanjo did during his time. If you recall, President Olusegun Obasanjo went everywhere in the world, in Nigeria, outside of Nigeria, Frank Weke and all this, brought a lot of people back into the country, brought a lot of people from inside of the country, make a lot of them, work with him. And this is what we want to see, fresh. If there's any word that he should be looking for, Asiwaju should be looking for, it should be fresh. Mix the team with very young people in their 20s, in their 30s, in their 40s, they will help him in strategy and they will help him in many other ways. That's my view. Right. I think he loves the youth, but a lot of them are in the back end, and many of them would not even have political future in his lifetime.
Makes
the
sense.
wise man wants whatever you want people to do behind you, let them do it in front of you.
Right, thanks, Abraham. Great. So I'll come to you, Olutuboso, here in the studio. We know that some of the issues we're facing in this country still center around the economy, I want to say electricity.
Very much.
Because
You're right.
It's really biting. So I just want to put it under a broad scheme. It's talking about the economy, security issues, and this other third one that we always talk about. So
social welfare.
Social welfare, everything put together. Do you think, just like the governor of Lagos State says, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, he said that the former governor has got the magic wand to fix this country? Do you believe so?
Yeah, the records are there and they speak for him. If you look at one of the things credited to him is the fact that Lagos State's IGR used to be almost nothing. And when he came on, because he was able to expand the state, opened new doors and, new avenues for money making. Right. Lagos State is way up there with IGR. So that speaks for the fact that if he takes over, when he gets there, definitely he's got what it takes to actually expand. And then he's somebody who's got capacity within and without, not just locally, but even outside the country. I mean, this is a man who is well connected, and a lot of things speak for him, because you see, sometimes bringing in a leader who is not well known outside there may not go too well for the country. His record speaks for him. That's one. Then he's both a technocrat, he's both a tech politician. So if you put the two together, that's one. So he's done well with Lagos State when it comes to the issue of expanding the economy of a small state like Lagos State. I mean, if you look at the next state to Lagos State, almost all the other 35 states, their IGRs are subsuming what Lagos makes in just 1 month. So that speaks to the fact, and it keeps expanding. That's one. So on the issue of economy, you can give that to him. Then also, he's somebody who assembles team. Because if you look at it, like my colleague said, there's been succession plans, people are coming, and Lagos is still expanding. We've had like 3 governors, and you see the thing going up, nothing has come down. So that's then also with security. Now, because you measure the big thing with a small thing that somebody has done, and like the Holy Book says that if you're faithful in little, you'll be faithful in much. Now, so if you've seen what I've done at the micro level, definitely that's the basis for which you give me a higher, higher task. So with security, I think he's got what it takes to actually put that. He's proposed a few economic theories. I've read some of his books, and I think if given the chance, the country will be the better for it.
Well, Abraham, great in the UK. We also know that we are faced with another security challenge. We talk about kidnapping. I'll talk about we are also divided along ethnic lines, different rhetorics, bandit in the country, and so many disunity that we have experienced in Nigeria, even though the incumbent, the current administration is trying its best to ensure that we are united. So how would you look at the IPOB too in the Southeast, and so on and so forth? But then how would you describe the person of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu if he eventually becomes the president of Nigeria, as he, really wishes to be? How would you describe him being able to unite the country, looking at it on the, against the backdrop of over 200 groups from the North Central, just yesterday met in Abuja and unanimously endorsed him, for president? What would you say to this?
To be quite honest, we can't tell how someone is going to turn out. Every presidential election is a risk on the candidates that you are voting for, that you are supporting, what have you. But what we can see is antecedents. Was Lagos secure during this tenure? Is Lagos still secure? The last I checked, is probably the most secure state in the country. There are some, thuggery and, here and there and stuff. But, say the same thing here in London or in New York or in Paris or every part of the world. But one thing I want to say about security is this, or a few things about security, and I think that whoever will run the country should be mindful of. During the time that President Buhari was inaugurated into office, on the day of the inauguration, I was actually beside the podium. And when the president was giving a speech, there was such an aura in the arena that everybody was filled with joy. Everybody was filled with hope. And the more he was speaking, I was seated with Professor Abati, the former energy minister or something. I had to leave where I was to go beside the stage because the scripts were so sweet. When a leader leads right, people will be happy and there will be less violence in the country. There was a time where we had a leader who would go to every part of the country and be dancing with the people. There was a time we had a president in the country who would be telling comedians to write for him jokes that he can insert. We cannot be inciting our people and expect the country to be secure. We need a leader who can take a banter. We need a leader who can pacify. We need a leader who can take jokes, who can take things. We can't keep locking people up, keep reacting to everything. We've got to be very careful. The second thing about security, which the economic prowess of the like of Ahmed Bola Tinubu and maybe other candidates that may be capable have, is the power, the economic power to transform the energy sector. Now, if there is light, evil thrives where there is darkness. If you see permanent electricity in Nigeria today, you will realize that security will increase significantly. People can put CCTV in their houses, a lot of machines, a lot of things can, surveillance can work in the country. You can have CCTVs on the street. But right now that street lights are not working, the national grid is dead. The first problem that a Nigerian president, and I'm saying this also to a potential president, if that is Asiwaju Tinubu, is to fix the electricity problem. I know a lot of people are benefiting from it economically, but we need to repent from that and fix the electricity, and you realize that, ensuring national unity through body language, through temperament, and at the same time fixing the electricity problem. The third would be then sorting out whatever needs to be sorted out with the military. We may know what is going on behind the scenes.
All right.
Insecurity is a business.
All right, we're taking this in a bit. So let me bring this back to you. A lot of people have also raised concerns about, I think you alluded to the fact that some said that he's not as fit as a fiddle. He does not have the, the power, the youthful power as he used to, moving from, but we've seen him traverse the length and breadth of this country. He's been to, toward the southwest, it's been to the north. He's been moving around, during this consultation and standing for more than 2 hours talking without even fidgeting, without doing anything, something that even some youth might not be able to do. So how would you speak to this?
Well, sincerely speaking, you don't expect him to be as strong as he was in 1993 or 1999, and I'm not going to stand there and say he's as fit as when he was then. It's aging. But one of the things we have to bring out is, are there people in his age who are ruling other countries with more challenges? Definitely,
At
yes.
least we've got Joe Biden, we saw Donald Trump.
I don't think he's as old as Biden.
And we've got President Muhammad Buhari, despite the challenges that he faced. And
exactly.
Look at the way
So
he walks around.
they're contemporary. So health challenge is not, it's a factor, because, you know, sometimes you want to know the fact that your president is actually fit and proper for the office. But at the same time, we've seen him move around, and also we've seen presidents fall ill. Even young people, you know, I mean, they'll say in my dialect that sometimes you see very, so but basically, let's just say that we've seen presidents fall ill. Roosevelt was ill at some point, you know, and that didn't stop the state from moving. Though we don't want somebody sickly, but I don't think his health is impaired, and he has the capacity to do that. We've seen him talk, we've seen him go around. He's working by himself, nobody's aiding him. So I think, and if he says he's fit and the doctors certify him so, then let's allow him to just go ahead and do whatever he wants to do. Right. It's all for the country to be the better for it. That's what we hope. And we sing, a lot of people believe in him, and then let's hope that the country gets better.
Right, I'm sure we can exhaust, talking about, the person of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu vis-a-vis the current reality we are in Nigeria. Thank you very kindly, lawyer and social development advocate Olutubosun Oshifora. Thank you so much for your insight.
My pleasure.
And also our friend from the UK, leadership expert and CEO, Great Dynasty Group, Abraham Great. Thank you very kindly
for having me.